Okay, back again on the Richmond Castle Show with the Student Radio, 90.5 HD3. Gonna get right back into the picks here for Week 10 NFL season. First off, the buys this week. I'm not sure, it might be the last week of buys or next week, but we're getting close to the end of buys. But for this week, it's the Atlanta Falcons, Indianapolis Colts, San Diego Chargers, and San Francisco 49ers. Alright, so our first game here, 1-7 Detroit Lions travel to Green Bay to play the Packers. We're 6-2. Injuries first for the visiting Lions. Calvin Johnson is listed as questionable. For the Packers, these four are questionables. That's Sam Shields, Clay Matthews, James Jones, Casey Hayward. Shields is a cornerback, Clay Matthews is a linebacker, James Jones is a wide receiver, and Casey Hayward is a cornerback. And Demarius Randall, a cornerback, is probable. Now, I would expect the Packers to take out their two-game losing streak on a hapless Lions team pretty convincingly in this game. However, I look at the injuries, especially in the secondary to the Packers. Now, they are questionable, and probable with three cornerbacks. And Calvin Johnson is questionable, so we don't know exactly who is going to go, who's not going to go. But Matt Stafford, we know he can throw the ball to the best of him. He can light it up downfield. So we'll have to see if he can take advantage of Packers secondary, which isn't terrible, but also isn't the greatest either. So that could keep Detroit competitive for a bit of this game, but I don't see it lasting that long because, again, Green Bay has lost two straight. They need to get back on track. They got the Minnesota Vikings nipping at their heels. They're actually tied with them in that division. They even have a tiebreaker, I'm not sure. But the Packers need to get this game. I think they do. You might see Detroit jump out to a lead like we talked about, 14-0, 14-7, 14-3 in that regard, just lighten them up downfield a bit. However, I think Green Bay settles it down and comes away with the win. And I think we're going to score a lot of points, as well as Detroit. I'd like it to be 38-28, Green Bay going away late in this game. Okay, up next, the Dallas Cowboys at 2-6, rolling on 6 straight losses, travel to Tampa Bay to play the 3-5 Buccaneers. Injuries first for the visiting Cowboys. Matt Castle, quarterback, is probable. Sean Lee, the linebacker, is doubtful. Barry Church, the safety, is questionable. Tony Romo, of course, this should be the last game he misses. He's on injury reserve. And Dez Bryant, the wide receiver, is questionable. For the Buccaneers, their cornerback, Alteron Werner, is questionable. Gerald McCoy, the defensive tackle, is questionable. Austin Seferian-Jenkins, the tight end, is questionable. Vincent Jackson, the wide receiver, is out, and Jack Smith, the defensive end, is out. Really, now or never time for the Cowboys. Is the division likely? Probably not, but there's no reason to say the Cowboys couldn't win this division, or any team for that matter, at 8-8. So they really got to right the ship and just get a win and then go from there. Tampa Bay is playing better, has the better record than the Cowboys this year. Jameis Winston is going to be trouble, but I think the Cowboys are finally going to shake this losing streak. They're going to find a way. They're tired of losing. They know if they can get this with Romo coming back, then it sets them up with at least an opportunity to make a run. You look at 3-6 with 7 games left. I mean, can you go 6-1 down the stretch to get to 9-7? It would be tough, but certainly, at 3-6 to go 5-2 the rest of the way to get to 8-8 may just put you in the running in that weekend division. So we'll see what happens, but I think that they're going to get some turnovers off Jameis Winston that they've been lacking. Again, I am a Cowboy fan, so it could just be some bias coming through, but I think that the play calling has come around now that they finally figured out with Matt Castle. This will be his fourth start. So now that he's figured it out just a bit, he can try to right the ship here. And I think it's going to be one of those some way, somehow games. I like the Cowboys to finally catch some breaks they haven't been catching, and I like them to win this game 21-17. Next up, Carolina traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. Carolina, of course, is 8-0. Tennessee is 2-6. The injury report for the visiting Panthers: Dewan Edwards, defensive tackle, questionable. Jonathan Stewart, running back, probable. Luke Kuechly, linebacker, probable. For the Titans, Jason McCourty, cornerback, out. Kendrell Wright, wide receiver, out. Parrish Cox, defensive back, questionable. Dexter McCluster, running back, probable. Carolina, better stay focused in this game. They are 8-0, looking at a lesser team, but you don't want to do that, especially going on the road. Tennessee's off a win when they went to the new coach, so they can certainly be dangerous. We'll see if they're finally playing loose and free. Marcus Mariota, you look at his numbers, not terrible, 13 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. They really haven't run the ball too particularly well, and Delaney Walker is their top wide receiver. Delaney Walker is a tight end, 42 receptions for 456 yards, so that's pretty indicative of a team with a rookie quarterback that they're going to stay conservative, but you would expect a bit more in the running game because Antonio Andrews hasn't had 300 yards yet this season against the top rusher. Cam Newton, we talked about it, 14 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. Little over 50% completion this year, so obviously his running is what's doing it. His just, moxie, I guess for lack of a better term, is what wins the games for the Panthers. It's really tough to say Tennessee is going to win this game, and I'm not going to pick them. However, I would like to make a note. It wouldn't surprise me if Carolina comes out a little lackluster and doesn't win this game. I'm not going to pick Tennessee, but you did hear it here that it wouldn't surprise me if Tennessee won for some odd reason. But I'm going to take Carolina to win. I think they come out a little sluggish to start, looking down to their opponent. They figured out late on Cam Newton, that he's a winner, and they're going to find a way to get it done. I'd like it to be 24-17. Next, the Chicago Bears at 3-5 travel to St. Louis to play the Rams at 4-4. St. Louis obviously right in the thick of things in that wild card. Even Chicago, you would have to say, even at 3-5 is not yet eliminated. After an 0-3 start, they're starting to buckle down a bit. The injuries for the Bears all questionable. Alshon Jeffrey, wide receiver. Eddie Royo, wide receiver. Antrell Rolle, safety. Pernell McPhee, defensive end. And Shea McClellan, linebacker. For the Rams, they are also both questionable. Only 2 listed. Robert Quinn, the defensive end. And T.J. McDonald, the safety. It's been Jekyll and Hyde with the Rams, like a lot of teams, such as Redskins this year. What are you going to get? They are off that loss to the Minnesota Vikings. They have played better than expected. They are going to be without the cornerback who had a little hit on the Teddy Bridgewater. Chicago, hey, you look to win, and then they're still right in there in the wild card. They do have a loss to Seattle. It's going to hurt them, especially in the wild card scenario. But they're in it, and they've been playing well. I got to give Jay Cutler some credit. He's been limiting his turnovers since early in the season. He only has 5 interceptions this far this year. Matt Forte, once again, putting in a solid year. Almost 550 yards and 2 touchdowns on 136 carries. That's right at 4 yards per carry. Todd Gurley, of course, for St. Louis, their running back, certainly has to be in consideration for the year. He's playing well this year. I look at the injuries. If Alshon Jeffrey and Eddie Roth can't go, that's going to change things. But as of right now, I'm going to take Chicago to go on the road and win. I think St. Louis, you're going to get the we'll say Hyde is the bad one for this. So you're going to get the Mr. Hyde act today, on Sunday, and they're not going to come out ready to play. Again, could change if either Alshon Jeffrey, Eddie Roy, or both of them can't go, but as of right now, I'm going to say that they do go because they're questionable. And I'm liking Chicago to win this game. I think it's going to be 27-23. Alright, so we are done.